In yesterday's game against the Washington Commanders, Jaylen Carter had a really good day on tape. He had so many impactful plays that actually changed the game. In my opinion, outside of Saquon Barkley, Jaylen Carter absolutely flipped this game. Some of the plays he made on 3rd and 4th down were really impressive, and I'm excited to talk about it. Let's just get right into the tape. So everybody knows that Jaylen Carter is one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. He's a phenomenal football player, but what makes him great, I think, is something that people overlook. Right? It's one of those things where people don't recognize what it is with Carter that makes him such a superstar player. It's really just the way he sets guys up. And this is a great example of this. So this is 1st and 1 from the 1-yard line. It's going to end up being a touchdown. But notice Jaylen Carter is going to go up against this guard here. He's going to get physical and he's going to just try to push this guy backwards. He's going to bench press him. And he's going to push this guy like 3 yards into the backfield. This is such a great play here by Jaylen Carter because this is a split zone concept in the back. You can see what the tight end's going to do. He's essentially going to wham block towards the right. The running back gets the ball towards the left of the screen, but he's going to have to cut it back towards that right as well. And that's because of Jaylen Carter. Jaylen Carter takes this guy backwards. He bench presses him. Now this guard knows that Jaylen Carter is going to utilize that strength to bench press me backwards. Now keep in mind, this was 1st and 1. It ends up being a touchdown. And then on the very next play that Jaylen Carter goes up against that right guard, instead of pushing him back on this one, he's going to utilize a different move, right? He essentially set this guy up and he wins again. Now, this play ends up picking up 5 yards and still a positive play. And this should just be one of those things that makes you recognize how difficult it is to actually make a play. You might beat the guy in front of you, but the running back or quarterback might just run the other way. You might swim over a guy, you might push a guy, reset the line of scrimmage, but the ball might come out, right? Or the ball might end up going to the opposite side, so you don't actually make the play. But you guys see that on back-to-back plays, essentially. On one, Jaylen Carter is going to utilize the power. The next time, he's going to just go right over the top. I mean, it's such an incredible job by Carter, the way he moves. And Carter's a massive football player, right? He's not a small defensive tackle. He's not a guy that's on the smaller side. He's powerful. He's strong. And he's going to just straight up set this guard up. Keep an eye on that right foot. He's going to fake towards that inside. He's going to make it seem like he might go inside. And as soon as this offensive lineman tries to get to Jaylen Carter and make that contact, Carter's going to jump back towards the left, swipe with the left arm, brings the right arm over the top. And the fact that he jumps towards that left side, it's what allows him to ultimately beat this guard, right? Because the guard leans forward and he ends up falling because Carter jumps to the left. Just a really good job by Jaylen Carter. But these are the little things that this guy does on tape. And although he's not making these plays right here, over the course of a game, these winning reps actually do lead to impactful plays. 2nd and 14 here, and Jaylen Carter is going to force an 8-yard sack. Josh Sweat's going to be the guy that's going to end up getting credit for the sack, but Jaylen Carter's the guy that really forces it, right? Because Jaylen Carter's the guy that's going to end up beating the right guard. And the quarterback has to roll out of it, right? He recognizes it pretty quickly that Jaylen Carter's coming right at him. You can even see the quarterback's helmet. If you guys look at the quarterback, he's going to go from the right side of the screen here. He's trying to go through the progressions. Right there, he comes back to the middle. He looks over to the right, and he sees Jaylen Carter right in his face. To me, that's a really good job. And because of that pressure, the quarterback trying to avoid it, it kind of causes that disruption where this other defense lineman here, Sweat, is able to make the play. Again, just a really good job to utilize the hezzy move. He's going to essentially swipe away the guard. It's fast, it's quick, it's effective. But again, Jaylen Carter is not the guy that's going to actually get credit. All right, so up to this point, although Jaylen Carter has done 3 really good things, up to this point of the game, the guy hasn't really had a stat, right? The first play of the game was a touchdown. The second play of the game was a 5 to 6 yard pickup. And this one, Josh Sweat actually ends up getting the credit for. And the first play he's going to actually make that he gets credit for actually comes in the 3rd quarter, which is kind of crazy to think. Right, those other 3 plays, he doesn't technically get credit for anything. This one, he's going to get a tackle for loss. This was 2nd and 2. Obviously, the Commanders are in a really good spot. They try running the football, and they end up losing about 3.5 yards. I mean, just a really good job by Jaylen Carter. You know, the most impressive thing to me is the fact that this is a pin pull towards the left, and Jaylen Carter is going to just jump underneath that right tackle. To be able to jump underneath the right tackle, get upfield, and still make the play on a pin pull towards that side is just incredible. You don't generally get guys that are this quick, but with Jaylen Carter is different. In fact, I did an Eagles video just a couple of days back with Jaylen Carter in that it was against the Dallas Cowboys, and of course with Carter, he was basically doing the same exact stuff. He was jumping underneath guys, he was blowing plays up, just making a difference. And I think against the Commanders, there are a lot of plays that I think people are going to overlook, right? There are a lot of plays that this guy was making, and it impacted the game. And I think as the game continued to go on, this guy made more and more plays. Now, one of the things I also noticed while watching the tape is the Philadelphia Eagles actually really came after wanting to defend the run. They did not want the Washington Commanders to be able to run the football, so they stacked the box. They had their defensive linemen play the run, and it actually ended up working because Jaden Daniels was not able to use his arm to actually beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Quinyon Mitchell might be one of the best corners in the NFL. The guy's the real deal. And to me, the fact that these guys were able to shut the run down, especially late in the game, but to me, that's what allowed these guys to ultimately win. Here's another really, really nice play by Jaylen Carter. Now, this play here is going to be a power run towards the left. Jaylen Carter has no business making this play, but he's going to end up getting in there and making the play. Now, I want to show you guys what this play should ultimately look like, right? Because these are, this is a bread and butter type of play. No reason why this should not be able to work. So on this play here, you're essentially trying to get a double team from Carter up to Nakobe Dean. You're going to get a seal out block by the tight end. And then these guys here essentially have back blocks. Super straightforward, super easy. And you want to pull the guard here to get him up through the gap to block number 2. You're also going to end up bringing the tight end around who's supposed to go through the gap as well and pick off number 53. And the play should work, right? It's just a very, very basic power run. But what's going to end up happening and why this play doesn't work is because what Jaylen Carter's going to do. So Carter's going to actually explode through the right tackle here. And he's going to reset the line of scrimmage. And the guard's not going to be able to actually go around that tackle. This guard's responsibility is to go all the way around this tackle and go up through the gap and pick off number 2. But because Carter's going to jump through here, he's going to reset the line of scrimmage. This guy's not going to be able to go over that. He's going to have to come underneath it. So that's going to essentially blow up the entire play. And this is what Jaylen Carter brings, right? He pushes guys back, and you don't recognize the difference he's making, right? You don't realize how much of an impact Jaylen Carter's having. And at this point, the score was 10-6. The Eagles were actually down. And Jaylen Carter had other plans, right? Jaylen Carter blew up multiple plays, right? He was just getting back there, and these plays were not working. And Carter was a big part of it. And again, the Eagles took that approach when they wanted to shut the run down. And of course, Jaylen Carter was obviously a big factor to that. And here's another example of just being a really, really good football player. The center has a back block. Again, very, very, very simple block. Of course, that's assuming you're going up against an average defensive tackle. To me, Jaylen Carter does such a great job on this play. And what's impressive about this play is the fact that he's the guy that really makes this play, even though he doesn't get the tackle. Now I want to break this play down a little bit. It's just a basic power play. You're going to pull the guard here. You're going to pull the tackle here. And then everybody else is basically going to block down. You're going to get a block here. The center's going to double, but ultimately get up to number 53. The tight end's going to block number 17. And of course, you have 2 guys pulling. One's going to take on 27. The other's going to take on the defensive end, Nolan Smith. And then number 55 is going to get held because of the threat that the quarterback might actually pull this as opposed to handing the football off. But if these blocks are properly made, you're running right underneath that. And this is a big play here. But again, Jaylen Carter has other plans. Jaylen Carter is going to jump that gap. And not only does he jump the gap, but what happens is the tackle is not going to be able to actually get out there. So the tackle has to get to number 27. But when Jaylen Carter jumps the gap, the tackle ultimately gets disrupted right there. That timing is thrown off because Jaylen Carter is going to get in front of this tackle. So now keep an eye on number 27. 27 ultimately goes unblocked. The tackle should have gotten to 27, but he's not able to. Quinyon Mitchell, phenomenal player, sets the edge, forces the cutback, and then, of course, the rest of the defense kind of swarms to the football. But it's just a very, very nice play by Jaylen Carter. And I don't want to overlook the fact that this guy's having such an impact. Because statistically, he had like 2 tackles. But on tape, this guy made multiple plays. On tape, what the Commanders were trying to do did not work. And that was because of what Jaylen Carter ultimately did. This is one of the plays where he actually does end up getting credit for a tackle. It's just a really, really good snap once again by Carter. 2nd and 1, this is a moment where you want to be able to run this football. You want to be able to pick this one up. Because the fact that Jaylen Carter ends up making this play, the Commanders end up going for it on 3rd down. They don't get it. They go for it on 4th down. They once again don't get it. But a big part of them not getting that 1st down was on 2nd and 1, Jaylen Carter blows it up. And it's just the movement, it's just the quickness. Very, very difficult player to block. You get the left punch, right arm comes over the top, and he's just right there in the backfield, right? Such an incredible job. Also got to give some credit here to Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis has finally started to come along as well. The guy's a great run defender. You're starting to see that kind of pop as well. Remember, one of those guys has responsibility to get up to number 17 here. And look at 17 just fail The running back doesn't really see anything on that side. He sees the linebacker filling. You see Nolan Smith's going to end up spilling to the inside as well. So there's nowhere for the running back to go. And then at the same time, you got Jaylen Carter coming off the backside. It's just a great job by the entire defensive line. And all three of those guys this year have been making an impact. And I don't think people recognize that. Jaylen Carter, Nolan Smith, Jordan Davis have all looked really, really good this year. Now, of course, Jaylen Carter's the one guy that's, and he's obviously the difference, right? He's obviously the one guy that's been blowing things up. He's the one guy that's been making all these different plays. On this one here, you got a couple of the guys that are going to kind of get in there. But once again, Jaylen Carter's going to end up running a defensive line game. It ends up being a run stunt technically, right? Because it's a quarterback draw. And of course, in this video, we're not going to really analyze guys like Nolan Smith or Jordan Davis. And if you guys want to see the tape of Jordan Davis or Nolan Smith, let me know in the comments below. You know, we did one of them just this past week against the Cowboys. Maybe we'll come back and do like a season recap of those guys. As the final play we're going to look at, 1st and 5. Jaylen Carter, once again, just going to straight up bull rush the right guard. Just going right through him, right back into the quarterback. Now, if you guys don't know this, I was very, very high on Jaylen Carter. I thought he would be one of the best defense tackles in the NFL. And he's pretty much already that going into his 2nd season. And I think the Eagles did right by bringing him in. Even the Jordan Davis pick, I know some people disagree with it, but Jordan Davis is starting to make an impact as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. If you did, consider subscribing. We will be covering the Eagles on this channel. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.